Kevin Stefanski has said Shedeur is going to finish the season. And it's really interesting. When Tim Tebow was a sensation, I didn't buy it, but I got it. He was winning, and he had the Christianity connection. So he was beloved, and he was winning. He wasn't very good, but I got it. The Shedeur Sanders conspiracy theorists are really bizarre. Shedeur's not winning, and his popularity also isn't tied to productivity. They think Cleveland, desperate for winning, is out to get him. And I'm not saying I get all popular things. I don't get K-pop. Like, I don't get, but I understand its popularity, different. It's pop music, which is often popular in different musical genres. But the whole thing with Shedeur Sanders is he's more like the trend 6'7". I don't understand it, and nobody's explained it to me. It's just over the head. I think there's a LaMelo Ball thing here. Where is Shedeur Sanders the first quarterback influencer? That's what I think it is that you see this stuff all the time. You see these young business people, and their product's not very good or it's average, but they play Instagram well and TikTok, and there's people making millions of dollars, and they're like influencers. I think Shedeur Sanders is our first quarterback influencer. I think LaMelo Ball had that feel. Like, LaMelo wasn't a winning player, but he connected with the kids. And so I'm happy for Shedeur Sanders. I honestly think he's kind of a chill kid. He's a little silly for me. I like my quarterbacks to be a bit more serious and adult. That's not his thing. But the whole conspiracy theory group, like Tebow was winning Christianity, I got it. Shedeur is much better. I think it's this simple. And I don't know why everybody can't see this. Dylan Gabriel, because he came out of a college program with better coaching, Oregon, was more prepared initially than Shedeur. But Shedeur is more talented. And so Dylan was better to start early, but Shedeur's talent eventually would surpass low-ceiling Dylan Gabriel. It's not that's, and this happens all the time. Anybody listening or watching that has kids, sometimes boys grow more slowly than girls. They mature more slowly. Dylan comes out of a football factory in Oregon. He is well coached and well schooled. He's won a lot of games, great coaching, NFL players around him. Oregon's an NFL factory, and he's ready sooner than Shedeur is. Shedeur comes from Colorado. Not a lot of NFL guys around him. Travis Hunter was great. The coaching staff isn't as good as Oregon. He's too loose. He's too immature. He's not quite ready. He's getting speeding tickets. He's not ready. But eventually, Shedeur has more big play potential, has probably a little better arm, and eventually the talent wins. That's, to me, the stories.
Yeah. You know, it's just interesting because I made a video and a lot of people got mad because they said I was talking too much about the story itself, Shedeur itself, rather than the game. And, you know, and this is what Colin is now talking about too, where he's just like the story is the story because that is who Shedeur has become. And that is what the fans have made it become. They've made it beyond football. That's just the reality. I didn't do it. Like, Colin didn't do it. The media didn't do it. Like, it was the fans. And then now, even when I made that Shedeur video and I brought up how some people were talking about that, like, Shedeur is better than Drake May, and that like the comment section, people literally just kept saying that I'm a liar, that I'm making stuff up, that nobody's talking about, and then literally in that very comment section, people were saying he's better than Drake May, he's better than Jackson Dar, he's better than like all the things that I had said that people were saying. And yet in that same comment thread, people are like, you're lying. And I'm like, look at the comments, like, what are you talking about? They're all there. Then I pinned one of them and someone said, oh, so one comment. And it's like, no, I can only pin one comment. I don't know what you want from me. So the whole interaction has been so bizarre. I've said this before, but it's true. Like, every time I'm like, do I really want to make a Shedeur Sanders video right now? Because the what it brings is so ridiculous. The things that people have accused me of being are so disgusting and so awful that it's like, who wants that? And how Colin says he doesn't get it, I do get it. I I get it very much so. Shedeur Sanders and the fans feel very much like they're on the outside looking in and they're angry about it. Like Colin said, it's not for me. And my first thought is like, it's not for you. He's like, I don't get it. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, because it's not for you. He's not for you. He doesn't represent or mean anything to you. Whereas Shedeur Sanders does, and that's fine. But then again, it gets taken too much to the extreme. It gets taken too far where now we make wildly inappropriate accusations and then just reject conversations that are happening right in front of us. Like I'm like, oh, I'm reading comments where people are saying, where people came out and said that, you know, Drake May is better than that. Shedeur is better than Drake May, or that what Shore did against the Titans is better than anything Drake May has done. And people are like, you're such a liar. No one said that. And then someone was like, well, you're only catering to the extremist fans. And I'm like, those are the people that are commenting right now. Like I'm reacting to the comments. That's a big part of this channel, is speaking directly to the people who are actually indeed watching it. And then especially when people now come at me and say that I'm like lying or something, and I was like, I'm not lying. Like, whatever. And then people are like, why are you so defensive? And I'm like, I'm defensive because I'm telling you, like, because I'm defending that I'm not a liar. Like that doesn't really make sense. And so it is a frustrating experience. I get why it's happening, but it doesn't make it any less frustrating. And then having the conversation about Shedeur, because Colin is saying, I don't get it. Where's all this hype coming from and stuff? He's like, at least TBO had like religion and had, that he was winning or whatever. And like the whole thing is like the Shedeur fans don't think that Shedeur was actually given a fair shake. And he maybe doesn't have like a religious aspect, but he has like a more of like a culture aspect, and what that, resonates to, and who he's speaking up for, and what that represents. So it's just like it's very similar, and people would argue that Shedeur is a winner and was winning, and people lay the claim in saying he was the most accurate quarterback of all time in college just based off his completion percentage. And it's like, it's not inherently how a lot of people felt, even though he had a high completion percentage. And then this is where we kind of go in circles, where you're just like, the Pittsburgh Steelers were Mike Tomlin was part of a conspiracy. Like really, like, Sean McVay and the Los Angeles Rams were part of a conspiracy. It's just like, then we just keep going in circles and circles and circles. And it's like Pete Carroll and the Las Vegas Raiders, they were part of a conspiracy. Like, no. So it is. And so some people will still be like, why aren't you talking about the game enough and stuff? And it's like, I talked about the game and people still got mad. I came out after he had his second start and said this was a successful game for him, and like it still wasn't good enough. And I did an immediate post-game clip, and then anything shy of the game against Tennessee Titans of me saying, that was the most spectacular game I've ever seen in the history of my life. It wasn't good enough. And then it's like, yeah, like I made my own quarterback mound, which is specifically only week to week. So it's only, what did you do this last week? Nothing else. Nothing else. It's just, how did you play this past week? And there's a lot of other factors. What's at stake? Who are you playing? How good is your team? Like, what do you have to do? It's not just, hey, I put up a bunch of points, or I won, or, and it's like, I got Shedeur above Matthew Stafford, Bo Nix, Sam Darnold, Dak Prescott, Baker Mayfield, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson. It's like, what? Just crazy to me. It's just interesting to me that the people that are crying about, like, why aren't we having real conversations, are the ones that are trying to light everything on fire. They're lighting everything on fire. And they're just like, why is it so hot in here? Why is it so smoky and there's nothing to drink? Where's the food? It's like, bro, everything's on fire right now. What are you talking about? We gotta go. We gotta get out of here. And you're like, why are you rushing me out? Do you not want me here? You lit everything on fire. Yeah. But you're not even going to invite me in. You're not even going to let me sit on the couch. You lit the kitchen on fire. You want me to make you a meal now? You want a steak. Dinner? I don't know what you want from me. So, I'm really interested about this game, the Chicago Bears against Cleveland Browns. Like, people who don't really believe that the Cleveland Browns are as great as they appear to be. It's like, well, here you go. I mean, this is now Shedeur Sanders. Like, what is it, like his fourth? he like now has a bunch of games where it's like, hey, you've had some games now. Like this is what happens to these quarterbacks in this situation. They get thrown into the fold and it's like, all right, have at it like that. That is what happens. It just is. There is no perfect scenario where you get an entire offseason and nothing but first team reps and blah blah blah. Like that's not how it happens a lot of times. It's just not. So it's just like, I'm really interested to see what he does. And again, really succeed or fail. It shouldn't be enough to swing anyone in some extreme direction where if he fails, you can't just like, oh, see, I told you he's not good. And if he looks pretty good, you can't just automatically be like, see, I told you he's the next Tom Brady. It's like you just have to kind of accurately go by week to week. And so that's what's going to be really interesting about this game, to see how it personally unfolds for Shedeur, because that's ultimately what it consistently ends up being about, just like it was for Jackson Dart and the New York Giants, just like how it has been between J.J. McCarthy and the Minnesota Vikings, Caleb Williams, and the Chicago Bears, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Someone asked me, they're like, do you still think that he was only a 5th round picker? What do you think? Whatever. And I was just like, the way how I replied to that was like, I don't care where he was drafted at, like, that doesn't mean it. He's in the NFL right now. I'm playing. I don't care about where you were drafted. That means nothing to me. It means nothing to me. Off top of my head, I'm like, wait, was Dak 3rd round, 4th round, 5th round? I think it was 5th round. I'm like, I don't remember anymore. I don't care. Tom Brady was 7th round. It's like, I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. None of that matters to me. Once you're in the NFL, you're in the NFL. You got your shot, you got your shot. Like, that's all that matters. So it's like trying to discuss where someone should have been drafted or who should have been drafted first. It's like the conversation is old news. Who cares? You're in the NFL right now. You're playing. That is the conversation. Trying to still figure out if there was a conspiracy in the draft and this or that, it's like you guys are the ones that are still bringing that up, and that's why Colin's now mentioned it here. But then the problem is it becomes kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy where we just kind of keep going in circles. And so it's like I had no idea what Colin was going to talk about here. I was actually excited to jump in on this clip and just be like, okay, let's actually just talk about football and what it means. But then Colin took it the different route, and I'm like, all right, well, and that's the route that I'm going to go about it. And he's obviously having a similar experience to me. Even this take that I just had, which I think was incredibly grounded and incredibly fair and incredibly nuanced and didn't say a single negative thing. I just talked for 14 minutes and did not say a single negative thing about Shedeur. And even when Colin said, I don't get it. And I was like, I do get it. And tried my best to explain it. People will still yell at me and say, I'm a hater, I'm a doubter, I just don't want him to be good. They'll hurl disgusting accusations at me, etc., 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 and that's when it becomes a lose-lose situation. That's when it's just kind of like, why even go there then if we can't actually have a real conversation? So maybe I'll be proved wrong. I hope so. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Shedeur Sanders? Are you buying the hype on Shedeur? Colin appears to be confused by it. He's calling Shedeur the first influencer quarterback. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment, whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.